Marcellus, you know how hard it is to find a top-5 quarterback in the NFL, obviously. We all know how hard it is to find a top-5 quarterback. And Deshaun Watson has consistently proved that he is top-5. His first year in the league, he was playing at an MVP caliber level, tears his ACL. Will Deshaun Watson be back? That was the question. Then this year, he plays at another top-5 quarterback level, but the Texans, because their infrastructure is terrible, they win no games. So, unfortunately, it is very counterintuitive to society, but these very rich, older gentlemen and women running this team are going to have to defer to the longings of this 25-year-old kid in their eyes. But the fact of the matter is, you better do what Deshaun Watson wants you to do, because if you lose Deshaun Watson, then you just about lose everything as far as imminent success. Much easier to find a head coach that you can choose from than it is to find a quarterback that you can't choose from. So unfortunately, Texans, your hands are tied. What Deshaun Watson wants you to do, it's probably in your best interest that you do that.
Interesting. We're going to have a conversation here, my dog.
Please, preferably.
Glad it's not on MLK Day. Good Lord. I would want to be more peaceful than this may go. Here's my answer to this question. Get rid of the problem. And if that includes him, then it does. Let me tell you why. Deshaun Watson's been all over the place with this one. One place he shouldn't have been is on Twitter. Cryptic messages or just indirect messages, whatever it is, fanning the flames. You're a franchise quarterback, Deshaun Watson.
He told people don't protest.
Well, that's after 2 to 10 and all these other ones. I don't even stay on Twitter like that to know, but I do know. Come on, man. You're a franchise quarterback. You got to act like a franchise quarterback in all situations. We know on the field, when a receiver drops your pass, you can't go, You know who does that? Quarterbacks trying to make a name for themselves. When you are a made man like Deshaun Watson, you know what they got to do? Tom Brady does it every time. Aaron Rodgers does it every time. They go, because they know they're going to be on the other end of the stick one time very soon. Here's the thing. Context matters. And in this situation, I'm going to tell you what ownership is thinking. This is one thing I've learned in my age, in my experiences, that the other side of the table needs to be understood before you start throwing your blows. Know who you're fighting against.
Yes, sir.
Okay, styles make fights, okay? Know who you're fighting against. Know who Cal McNair is and know what Cal McNair stands for in this conversation. And be as specific as possible. Let's not generalize. Let's talk about Cal McNair in this situation. Deshaun Watson is a top 5 quarterback, no doubt. Okay, respect. But you know that all the top 7 quarterbacks made it to the postseason except one? Him. Okay, so you know what they're saying? Interesting. Deshaun Watson, I ask of you, your 29 wins in 4 years and your 2 playoff appearances, what is the drastic difference between you and the 29 wins we had the 4 years before you?
Don't do this, Marcellus
and the
Wiley.
2 playoff appearances.
Don't do this, Marcellus Wiley. It's been a peaceful show.
No, hey, you can argue with numbers all you want. They're going to stay the same. You may change. Here's the thing. The question of what Deshaun Watson has done for the Texans is the answer to what the Texans should do for Deshaun Watson, outside of pay him $160 million for him not to take his top 5 self and his team to the playoffs. So here's the thing. This is going to get real gangster. And this could still end in a win-win situation. Here's how it's a win-win. Deshaun, we have embarrassed you. We have upset you. We have irritated you. Whatever you are in your feelings, but you are there. Fine. We don't have a first-round pick. We don't have a second-round pick. We don't have a lot of picks. We could get a lot of picks for you, Deshaun Watson, if you don't want to come to the table and be amicable about this situation. So my last situation that I point to is look at this. When you look at Deshaun Watson being in this conversation, putting himself in this position, why would you sign for $160 million when Bill O'Brien's your GM? And everybody knows Bill O'Brien was set tripping at the GM position. Not as bad as a coach as he was as a GM. Okay, why would you sign for $160 million months later after they already shipped your #1 receiver? You signed up for these issues, and now you got an issue with the same issues you signed up for. Well, Deshaun Watson, I would love to hear your counter to what the other side of the table was talking about. We got to bring in Fox NFL analyst Bucky Brooks. So, Bucky, what should the Texans do about Deshaun Watson?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They should sit there and let him continue to talk about it. Let everyone on social media talk about this is the first step in a player empowerment movement, and he has all the leverage and all those things. It's inaccurate. It's not true. Quietly, when they kind of made a provision in the 2020 CBA. They made it very punitive to hold out. And so when Deshaun Watson signed his contract and he got $27 million as part of a signing bonus, as part of a 4-year, $160 million extension, he signed up to be the franchise quarterback of the Houston Texans. Now, he was really smart and ahead of the game when he put in a no-trade clause, but he is not going to be traded because they have all the leverage here, the Houston Texans, because they paid him. He agreed to the deal. Now, he can kick up dust and make a stink and do all these things in public, but when it comes time to play and to report to training camp, he has to report to training camp. But the fines are so hefty that he can't avoid it. And so when people talk about him withholding his services, he can't withhold his services unless he's willing to walk away from significant money. And we all know when it begins to hit you in your pocket, that is when things happen. And so they can put up with all of the outside noise and all of the speculation and the fantasy football trade speculation that we will make on sports talk, TV, and radio. But at the end of the day, he has to report, he has to come and get his money, and he's going to get it. So the Texans can listen. They can try and meet him halfway. They can offer him an olive branch and really improve the communication that has been lacking. But he's not going anywhere. The Houston Texans have a franchise quarterback, and he is going to stay in Houston.
Here's what I'll say. I'm going to say two things. First, I'm going to agree with you, Bucky, and Marcellus to a point and say, why does everything always got to be a power struggle?
Man.
Like, we're turning this into a fight when there's a very simple resolution. Communication. What they say, nobody wins when the family feuds. Texans, y'all aren't going to win, and Deshaun, he might not necessarily win because y'all are feuding. We don't have to make this into a struggle. Let's just talk about it. Now, Bucky, I got to push back on you. I'm going to say two names, and y'all can try to draw the conclusion and find the through line. Remember when Earl Thomas didn't necessarily want to play for the Seahawks? He didn't just not show up. He just showed up and had some injuries. Remember when Jalen Ramsey wanted out of Jacksonville? He didn't just not practice. He just happened to have a back spasm here, a messed up foot there, personal issues here. So technically, y'all can't find me because I'm hurt. Now, I'm going to let y'all find the through line and the point of connectivity between Earl Thomas, Jalen Ramsey, and Deshaun Watson. But all I'm saying is this. Don't think that players are not smart enough to find the loopholes in, well, Deshaun Watson, we're going to find you if you don't practice. Well, man, I'm hurt, so I don't know what you want me to do. I messed up my thumb earlier today. I messed up my pinky yesterday, so I'm hurt. I'm not choosing not to practice. I'm injured, coach. I don't know what you want me to do. You can't find me for being hurt. Players are smarter than they ever have been. Agents are smarter than they ever have been. Don't question Deshaun Watson, because what Deshaun Watson wants, more than likely, Deshaun Watson is going to get. Like Jalen Ramsey got what he wanted, and at the time, Earl Thomas, who was the highest paid safety when he left Seattle, got what he wanted.
The difference is Deshaun Watson, those guys were seeking to get their money.
Boom.
He already has his money.
Ta-da.
And if you're Houston, Houston can just sit and wait. And if he wants to play the injury game and all those other things, like, that's cool. But if you're the Houston Texans, like, we understand that this is a long play, not a short play. Because if you're Nick Casario, what you're doing is you're trying to reestablish the culture in Houston. You cannot let the players have all of the say when it comes to how the organization is going to be run. Now, I understand the franchise quarterback is different than any other player on the thing, and it is a cooperation. So we need to mend the fences from a communication and trust standpoint, but I'm not letting Deshaun Watson walk out of the building. And so if he's injured and hurt, that's cool, but how long is he going to play that game? Is he willing to play the hurt game for an entire season and withhold his services through an injury? Well, let's see if that really plays out. Because at some point, he has to come and he has to play. And if I'm the Texans, I'm willing to play this out.
Yeah, man. Deshaun Watson, such high character, such high performance. Does he really want to compromise and undermine that character right now to go through this process? And what is this process? You're fighting ownership for the same power that you want to possess. What sense does that make, guys? Like, Deshaun Watson literally is such a good guy, he doesn't want to be a bad guy and really come out there and profess what he really wants. So he's going to all these other measures and antics and Twitter to do it, which is funny because, Acho, you're a Bible man. You're a man of the church.
Talk to me.
Your daddy's a deacon. Be hot or cold, not lukewarm. I shall spit you out my mouth.
2 verses.
Because I only read 2 verses. The rest was heathenified in my life. No, I know the Bible almost backwards, but only 2 apply to sports. You know, if I'm the ownership, if I'm Cal McNair, see, that's how gangster I am.
Talk to me.
This is how gangster I am. Before you walk into a room, at least anticipate, not guess, anticipate what the other side's going to say. You got to understand that Cal McNair is like, man, I gave you all this money. I gave you all this opportunity. You're beloved. Don't think you're the only one that this city loves, J.J. Watt. Don't think you're the only one that has high character on the scene. J.J. Watt, 37 million, Hurricane Harvey. Like, don't think you're the only one. But it's all good because you're our franchise quarterback. But be careful, big dog, because your 2 playoff appearances and your 29 wins is the same I got out of Brock Osweiler. This is going to get real gangster. And this could still end in a win-win situation. Here's how it's a win-win. Deshaun, we have embarrassed you. We have upset you. We have irritated you. Whatever you are in your feelings, but you are there. Fine. We don't have a first-round pick. We don't have a second-round pick.